This is the talkSPORT Daily Podcast. Welcome to your home for the Six Nations. I'm your host, Alfie Reynolds.
And I'm former London Irish and England winger, Topsy Ojo.
Each week we're going to be breaking down all of the action over the weekends and looking ahead to all that is to come. So whether you're in the gym, on the commute, wherever you are, this is your home of the 2026 Six Nations. So the Six Nations is here and I am back in studio with Topsy Ojo. Topsy, pleasure to see you, mate. How's it going?
Really good, really good. Good to see you too. You know, we spent so much of the summer communicating via laptops and iPads in hotel rooms and makeshift bedrooms turned studios at my house. So nice to be together in person, and hey, what a reunion. What a tournament to come back for. The Six Nations is back and I can't wait.
It's amazing, isn't it? You get to the turn of the year and then all of a sudden we're into the Six Nations. You mentioned the Lions tour. When I was out there in Australia, you were back here in the UK. That feels like a long, long time ago now.
Yeah. So much rugby to be played. And yeah, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but like you say, you blink, Christmas comes, you're into the new year, and all of a sudden it's Six Nations. We'll be talking World Cup before you know as well, but maybe one tournament at a time.
Well, yeah, we will be talking World Cup before you know. We'll try and keep our focus on the Six Nations, but 18 months out from a World Cup, it always comes up, doesn't it? Who's tracking towards Australia in 2027 well and who's not? Topsy, we mentioned it there, but the Six Nations is a brilliant time of year, isn't it? But for us, like, we love our rugby. For us as rugby fans, it's a brilliant time of year, but it's also that time of year where even people that aren't necessarily club rugby fans come in and watch the sport. It's every single year a championship that delivers.
Absolutely. It's the oldest rugby tournament in the world. It is the most popular. It's where the eyes of the world almost focus in on rugby. You know, you've got these Six Nations going toe to toe for bragging rights to be crowned the best in the Northern Hemisphere. And in more recent times as well, you absolutely have no idea who's going to win it, which is the beauty of it, which is the beauty of sport. So whatever form has happened in 2025, whoever won it last year has pretty much no bearing on who's going to win it this year because the fixtures change, which means that for us watching at home or working in the stadiums, it's just electric. It's brilliant. And like you say, it brings a whole new fan into the building, upwards towards 10 million people watching at home, listening on their radios. So this is rugby's moment. So we take full advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be a pleasure to be alongside you every single Monday. Now, look, you mentioned the fixtures. Here they come. Thursday night start, France against Ireland. Then on Saturday, the first game is Italy-Scotland, and then England against Wales at Twickenham. We've got to start with Thursday night rugby. Not something we see too often, the Six Nations kicking off on a Thursday.
No, we don't, but I like it. I mean, of course, they wanted to avoid clashing with the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics, which is absolutely fine because it means that Thursday night is all about the Six Nations once again. I think there's not much football on this. I know there's a couple of fixtures, but it's not crammed with European fixtures and Premier League fixtures. So actually, everybody tune in to the opening of the Six Nations. France and Ireland are going to go toe-to-toe. And again, France home advantage, Ireland coming to town. Who knows how it's going to play out?
It's got to be somewhat of a challenge in terms of building into that game for those teams, though, right? I mean, you're losing at least 2 days to when you're used to starting on, say, a Saturday or maybe even a Sunday. Some of the guys, depends the access that the nations have to those players and when they've come into camp. But it's a different dynamic for Andy Farrell and Fabien Galthié.
Yeah, definitely. So you need to kind of tweak your week accordingly, especially depending on when the players actually came into camp and what condition they were in as well. You know, I think the unions would have tried to have rested as many players as they can. I think Ireland probably have the advantage in that regard. The French club side probably saying, well, there are players, so if we want to play them in a big top 14 game, we will. But you just tweak your week. So, you know, you say that, right, okay, we've only got 2 on-pitch sessions, which we're going to get stuck into. And then it's about resting and tapering off, getting ready for that Thursday. It will feel different. But again, the players will be ready for it. And they're used to playing night games as well, so that's not a factor. Ultimately, you turn up and you don't want any excuses. So whether it's a Thursday or Friday, I mean, it could be a Wednesday, whatever day of the week it is, it's the first game of the Six Nations, so make sure you're ready.
And what sort of style of rugby do you think we see in the Six Nations more now? So we both cover a lot of the English Premiership where attack is on top so often. We see so many tries. And then also in the Six Nations, record amount of tries scored last year, 101 across all 15 matches. Do you expect to see that again? And it's interesting because it almost goes against the grain of Test rugby's tight. It's about taking your 3 points. Are we seeing a more open international game now?
I think we are. I mean, I'd love to say that we're going to break that record again. I mean, I hope to see it, but my gut tells me that we won't because, again, that is a stat that will probably horrify all the defence coaches out there. They're probably saying, right, we can't do this again. International rugby is becoming more open, but there is still the tactical side of it, which teams will play to. So expect to see a lot of kicking, because teams know that if you make a mistake close to your line, the other team's going to punish you. That's how good the attacks are as well. So there is that tactical element to play with as well. But ultimately, you're talking about the best players going head to head. So we're going to see all the skill set, all the entertainment, all the flicks and tricks that go with it. So you're going to be entertained thoroughly. Whoever you're supporting, wherever you're watching it from, you're going to see some really good rugby being played.
We'll come on to the 2 Saturday games in just a moment. Obviously, particularly England against Wales. I know we're both really interested in that one. Starting off on the Thursday night, though, France-Ireland. I suppose we can't talk about this game without mentioning Winnie Antonio, the French prop who had a cardiac incident recently and shockingly out of nowhere has had to announce his retirement. I mean, I suppose, Topsy, from your point of view, you played the game, you know injuries can happen, but I don't think you never expect something like this to happen and to have retirement taken away from him, or his decision on retirement taken away from him. Just thoughts on Winnie Antonio, who we should mention as well, has been an unbelievable rugby player in his career.
Yeah, it's twofold. Obviously, on a human level and a personal level, you really feel for Winnie, and, thoughts to him. Hopefully he's recovering well and his family. It's shocking news to hear. I actually was commentating on the Harlequins La Rochelle game that he was playing in about 2 weeks ago. And you assume everything's fine. These are the fittest guys and that they're playing professional sport. And as we've seen on rare occasions, sometimes these things happen. I think Nicky Zikwe was another one who had a rare heart condition and needed surgery on and has worked his way back. So thoughts with Winnie. And then on the professional side, the rugby side, it affects both his club and his country, because he becomes the 4th senior player either not available or not picked by France. They've not picked Greg Aldrit, who's a captain. They've not picked Damien Penaud, who scores tries for fun. And they've not picked Gaël Fickou, who has also been a French captain. So
those are some punchy selection calls from Fabien Galthié, by the way.
Yeah, huge. I mean, we might see 1 or 2 of them back as the Six Nations unfolds, and maybe it's a message to the other guys saying, I want to build some depth. But it's a statement. It's a statement that France are saying, we don't need those guys because we've got guys who are just as good. I mean, we'll wait and see how that plays out. So it's going to be fascinating. It's something that France will need to deal with and address, but you'd imagine that Fabien Galthié knows what he's doing. And once the team drops, we'll be able to see if it's justified and see how the game plays out on Thursday.
I've got a smile on my face when you say we think we know Fabien Galthié knows what he's doing. So I think there's a few people in France that are questioning him slightly. Look, let's see what happens. They're the defending champions. In your mind, are France the favourites for this Six Nations?
They are, because of the 3 home games. It's a huge factor. If that falls in your favour year on year, you want to take advantage. Now, actually, France have got 2 hard home games in terms of Ireland, England, and then, of course, Italy in the middle. So almost your 2 toughest tests. But home advantage is massive in the Six Nations. You don't see too many away wins. So France will be backing themselves to do a job and retain their trophy.
There are times where, in my position in the media, Topsy, you know this, you're supposed to remain impartial. I'm going to say it right now. I would love it if it's England-France, both on for a Grand Slam on the final weekend in Paris. We're going to be speaking about that game a lot, right, I guarantee it, in the next few weeks. But I would absolutely love that. Before I get on to Ireland, the other thing to mention here, I think, which you just can't ignore when you're talking about France, is the return of Antoine Dupont. The best player in the world. They miss him so much, I think, when he's not there. Do you think he could be the real difference for them? I know how good France are. They got loads of other really good players, but I just think Dupont is such a difference maker.
Yeah, he's brilliant. And actually, if you think about the names that we mentioned that aren't going to be there, almost 4 out, 1 in. Antoine Dupont comes in, arguably one of the best players in the world. He will absolutely strengthen France. And actually, they're missing his reinforcements that filled in while he's been away aren't there. So they will put a lot on his shoulders, which brings a lot of pressure, but as he tends to do, he deals with it. So everybody's going to be excited to see him back, to see him perform, to see him lead this French team. And yeah, if he's on form, then he gives them every chance of becoming back-to-back champions.
We should mention a couple on Ireland, Topsy, before we move on to other games. What's your view on Ireland at the moment? There is a perception out there that they are an ageing team. They're on the decline. Their results suggest that. They've got a massive, massive injury list. Do you subscribe to that way of thinking about where Ireland are at the moment?
Yeah, look, they're not as consistent, not as fluid as they have been, but actually that's credit to them in terms of they've been so good for so long. At some point, you're going to drop off. You just can't sustain it for that long. So it's just part of that evolution. They'll be absolutely fine. Yes, they've got some injuries to deal with, particularly in the front row. And actually, if you look at what South Africa did to them in the autumn, that might be an area that France will target, Winnie Antonio or not. Let's say pack to pack, let's go after Ireland and give ourselves a platform. That being said, I think Ireland, with having had Andy Farrell back for longer post-Lions, they'll be in much better shape. So again, they'll probably be happy with everybody saying, oh, they're aging, they're not this, they're not that. Absolutely fine. Talk all you want about us. We're going to turn up on Thursday night and turn over France, as we did pre-World Cup when we went and had to do the same thing. So, yeah, just don't write off Ireland.
No, I agree. Don't write them off. I think they are capable of causing an upset, but I can understand as well why they're not in the title conversation as much as they have been in previous years. And the big question, I think, for me, for you, is who starts at fly half for Ireland.
Yes, you beat me to it. That is the big talking point. It has been since Johnny Sexton left.
Which is in itself a problem, by the way.
It is. It's such a key position. You know, other positions you can kind of tinker and, you know, if it changes week to week, you can get by. But your fly half needs to be the general. He needs to be the man. Sam Prendergast looked to be that guy. A bit of inconsistency in his performance, but he's so young. He's still so young. So is it, do you back him? Or do you bring in a Crowley or a Frawley? I mean, for me personally, I go Crowley. I think I really, really like him as a player. I think he's worked hard enough, almost as the understudy, in, out, to warrant that selection. But then also there is merit in saying, look, Sam, you're our guy for the long term, so let's just keep giving you those experiences.
And I think that's what it boils down to for me. And this is where we're going to mention the World Cup again, having said we would try and avoid it. Are you picking the best team to win at the weekend, in which case I think it's Jack Crowley at this moment in time? Are you picking the team that you think you want in place in 18 months to start a World Cup? You don't have many test match between now and then. You give Sam Prendergast more of an opportunity. That, I think, is the balance for Andy Farrell and why I think he may well go for Sam Prendergast. But let's wait and see. Prediction for the game on Thursday, Topsy?
I think France win. I think it's less than 7 points. I think Ireland surprise a lot of the doubters who are talking a lot about them. I think, yeah, it's going to be a high-scoring 7-point victory for France.
Look forward to it. Could be a cracker. I agree. I think France will win. I think Ireland will be better than people expect, but I don't think they'll be quite good enough to beat France in France. But as you say, we thought that a few years ago, and they went in and absolutely did a job on them in Marseille. Let's move on to Saturday, the 4:40 game, England against Wales at Twickenham. England, Topsy, I mean, they're coming into this Six Nations in the best place I think they've been in since when they came into the 2020 Six Nations, when they came into it off the back of the 2019 World Cup, came into it as the favourites. I mean, Steve Borthwick has done a great job, hasn't it? There are more expectations around England, I think, now than we've had for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, expectation is through the roof. And, you know, I think Steve touched on it at the Six Nations launch. He did, but he didn't say outright, we're going to win the Six Nations. But the aim has to be, we have to win the Six Nations. They had a brilliant 2025, only lost the one game, which was the first Six Nations game in 25. Built some depth, brought through some really good young players who have evolved their style. It's got bits of old England with a lot of new England. I think Lee Blackett is doing a great job in terms of England's attack as well. But now it's about delivering. You know, that was last year. You're in the Six Nations. You've got, if you could pick, a favourable start, having Wales at home. Wales, you know, we'll talk about Wales, of course, but with all the issues they've got going on. So attack it. Start well, build through the tournament, and make sure that come that final weekend, you're going to France with an opportunity to either win the Grand Slam or the title,
do you
or
think,
the championship.
Do they have to do that in your mind, do you think? They have to reach Paris with certainly still a shot at the title. Do you think Grand Slam as well, if England had progressed in the way that people say they have?
Well, the Grand Slam is the cherry on the cake, but I think they need to be in a position to win the title. I think that's got to be the bare minimum because, yes, you can't write what happens in sport, but ultimately, if you want to continue on this upward trend, progress means coming into the Six Nations and doing better than you did last year. Last year, they had their best for a long while. The next step now, go and compete. Go and be in with a shot at the title on that final weekend.
I think the thing that fascinates me about England at the moment as well is they had a brilliant year last year. I'm not taking anything away from them, but most of their notable results were probably at home. They didn't play South Africa. That's not their fault, just the way the fixtures fell. But I look at Scotland away, Calcutta Cup. Yes, we'll get on to Scotland, but that's been a fixture England haven't been particularly good in the last 4 years. And Paris away. Like, those are two tough away fixtures, which I think is a really exciting thing for this team and a good marker of okay, can they progress again? Can they take another step in terms of building, which is absolutely what they're going to be aiming to do. The luxury today, actually, Topsy, is England have been super generous and named their team on a Monday.
Super aggressive.
We've got,
like Monday, like Tuesday morning, I get it, but like a Monday.
It's Razzie Erasmus-esque, isn't it, from Steve Borthwick?
Everyone's doing their own thing now, aren't they?
Well, look, what do you make of the team? There's always going to be questions there. I think that the headline has been that Maro Itoje is on the bench. He's not starting. Alex Coles and Ollie Chesham are the second row partners. Tommy Freeman is at 13. Tom Roebuck hasn't been past fit, so Henry Arundel makes his first start for England since the 3rd/4th playoff in the 23 World Cup. I mean, go for it. What kind of stands out to you? What pick the bones out of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually the team I probably would have selected. Maro aside, of course, we know the sad news about his mum passing away, and maybe obviously with him coming into camp.
He came into camp later,
yes.
Exactly.
Aside from that, it's probably the team I would have gone for. It's the guys that played well through the autumn and are bringing that form into the Six Nations. Some good power in the pack, some good speed in the backs as well. Tommy Freeman at 13 is probably the other headline alongside Henry Arundel coming in. The old centre conundrum again for England, trying to figure out, right, if Ollie Lawrence is the guy, if he's not available, as Manu Tuolangi wasn't available for many a time, who comes in? I actually think this might be an opportunity for Freeman, if Lawrence isn't available going forwards, to be the first choice 13 and build that partnership with Fraser Dingwall. You put two guys who know each other really well, play at club level together. Freeman is a brilliant player. Obviously, he's class on the wing. Brilliant for the Lions as well. He's a Lion starter on the wing as well. He brings that nous into the midfield, runs some really intelligent lines, can offload, can distribute as well, and also can finish. So I'm really excited to see how he goes. And then Henry Arundel as well. You know, you bring in a speedster in on the wing into a team that are attacking well, performing well. He's back on English shores now, has been for a bit. But right, here's your opportunity to start a game and almost pick up from where the hype was around Henry. He's a brilliant young player. He's still very, very young. Now he gets to showcase himself in the Six Nations.
Yeah, I think it's there's a few things that I think are really fascinating. I agree with you. You get the impression that Tommy Freeman at 13 is what Steve Borthwick would like to arrive at the World Cup at as his starting outside centre. I think, yes, he can still play on the wing. He can cover other positions in the back line, but I think they really want to give that more time. And I think we'll continue to see that this Six Nations. As we say, Mara on the bench, his mum sadly passed away. He arrived into camp later. So that's probably the reason for that. I also think it is probably about giving Alex Coles more minutes though as well, because we know Maro, come World Cup time, come knockout time, come semi-final, quarter-final, whatever it is, Maro's starting and playing 80 minutes, basically. But Alex Coles and other players who's been really good in November, getting them more game time. And then the one thing, or last thing I want to mention on England, Topsy, is the bench, because it was amazingly like the talking point from November. Like, since when has the bench been such a big talking point? The bench was the talking point. And again, I know Trevor Davison doesn't have as much experience there, but you've got Luke Cowan-Dickie, Maro Itoje, Tom Curry, Henry Pollock, Marcus Smith. It is a bench full of quality and full of experience. That's clearly something that England are hanging their hat on as being just so important to them in the final 20 minutes of games.
It's huge now. You know, it's the new phrase in rugby, whether, you know, your finishers, your impact players, game changers. I mean, every team calls them something different. But ultimately, when it gets to around the 50, 60-minute mark, to be able to bring players of this quality off the bench, I mean, you're bringing on a 100-cap England captain to come and shore up a victory is brilliant. You know, Ben Spencer's there, Marcus Smith is there. You know, England shouldn't have any let-up as the game goes on, and they'll probably back that. Look, Wales will be better than they have been previously, no doubt about that. They'll be fueled by passion, by a bit of anger, desire to prove people wrong. So England will want to kind of quench that as the game goes on and then say, right, we've still got gears to go, whereas actually you're going to tire and we're going to win out in the end.
That's the other thing, is this is the game where you can be a bit more experimental. You're at home against Wales. We know how dreadful their record is. And what is your realistic expectations for Wales this Six Nations? I saw Sam Warburton in his column in The Times was saying he thinks they could finish fourth, potentially, which would be amazing. I mean, blimey, that would be the shot in the arm that Welsh rugby needs. How are you viewing and thinking about Wales coming into this Six Nations?
Yeah, it's such a difficult situation, you know, with everything going on, you know, from the regions to the player pathway to their losing record now as well, particularly in the Six Nations. You know, well, they've won 2 out of the last 23, which, if you said that to any Welsh person in terms of their rugby team, like, you know, they'd probably punch you. They'd be like, what? Not a chance. But it's where they are at the minute. I think, look, there's pressure on their shoulders. They want to reignite the nation. They want to reignite rugby, but you can't put too much pressure on it as well. So actually, a positive Six Nations for them is winning a game. Win one game. Or a productive performance that, say, this weekend now against England, they make it really nervous. They make it really tight. They lose by less than 7, but a performance that they can be proud of so that when they go home the following weekend, they're ready to roll and they can grow and they can build. Actually, you look through their squad and yes, there's some youth in there, but there's a lot of really good experience. So actually, now that Steve Tandy's had a bit of time to get into them, set their stall out, show what they're really about, and then we'll see from there. There's no pressure in that regard, but actually internally there will be a lot. They'll want to do themselves proud and the nation proud. So, it sets it up really nicely for Saturday.
Lewis Rees-Zammit returning as well for them, who is obviously a top quality player. I wonder with Wales, you look at particularly their home fixtures. Okay, they got France at home, Scotland at home and Italy at home on the final weekend. I wonder how much they'll be focusing on that Scotland game because they really won't want to get to the final weekend. And once again, they're playing Italy. All the pressure is on that match to avoid losing every single game. I wonder whether they look at Scotland at the moment, who didn't have the best autumn in November, and think that could be the game that we could potentially really target. Look, let's wait and see. We know Wales are in a tough position, but I think we would all love it, wouldn't we? Even though, look, we're English and the rivalry with Wales in a rugby sense is massive. You want to see a more competitive Wales. Let's hope we get that. Prediction for Twickenham on Saturday, Topsy. Well, I presume you're going to be there.
I will be there. I will be pitchside in the chaos, running around with a microphone, trying to talk to as many people as I can. But I can't wait. It's brilliant, and I'm looking forward to it. Prediction, I think England will win. I think it'll be a 2-score win. But I expect Wales to come out with it with a ton of credit. It's the first game, which helps as well. Everybody should be fresh. Everybody should be clearer about what they're doing. They can turn up with a simple game plan and try and get stuck into England. I just think England will wear them down across the 80 minutes. They won't want to look too far ahead, of course, as you were saying, because the change in format means that actually there's less rest weekends. So they could get to that Scotland weekend off the back of 2 tough opening games and be absolutely knackered. So we'll wait and see. But first things first, get stuck into England.
It is one of those things so that they've, as you say, lost a rest weekend. For us, it's great in the media. For the fans, it's great. I bet the players, they're like, thanks a lot for taking one of these. We got to basically play, 5 test matches in a matter of 6 weeks.
Yeah. It's not ideal from a playing perspective. But, look, it's game after game. The players can get stuck in, less time to wallow if it hasn't gone your way. Look, there's another game in 6-7 days' time. So, do your review, do your recovery, and get ready for the next one.
Yeah, good stuff. So that's England. That is the 4:40 game on Saturday. I agree. I think England should win. Might be closer than people expect, but I think it should be a fairly comfortable win for Steve Borthwick's side. The other game that we haven't mentioned yet, Italy-Scotland, 2:10 on Saturday. Topsy, with Scotland, I'm fascinated by them because they had a really disappointing autumn, the defeat to Argentina and the defeat to New Zealand. And so they're coming into this Six Nations with no one really talking about them being in the title mix. Whereas previously, it had always been, can Scotland get to the final weekend and be in with a shot at the title? I just wonder whether the narrative around them is going to benefit them, because you look at that squad of players, you look at the Glasgow influence, who have had a brilliant season so far. The bulk of the squad come from that team. I just wonder whether people might be sleeping on Scotland a little bit.
I don't know if they're sleeping. I think maybe they're just tired of the hope. That phrase, the hope that kills you. So year after year, it's going to be Scotland's year. Look at the squad. Look at the squad. And as you say, they just haven't delivered. They just don't deliver. So maybe it's just right. Same old thing. You know what? We'll just leave Scotland alone. But you look at what they're doing at a domestic level. You talked about Glasgow, again, one of the top seeds in the Champions Cup. The players are there. Their captain is there this year, so he's ready to go. So they don't have any excuses, but excuses still tend to come up every single year. So maybe it is best to leave them alone.
Do you think they can win it?
They can, absolutely. And for the quality that they have now, they should also be getting to the 4th and 5th weekends and being in with a shout of winning it. That has to be the ambition. You look at the quality in that squad. Look at how many of them went on the Lions tour as well. You can't have players that good and then for whatever reason it comes to the Six Nations and they don't deliver. So yeah, maybe it's nice that they're being left alone this year to just get on with it. Italy away is not an easy opener. Italy are improving year after year. I think Quesada's doing a brilliant job. They had a great win in the autumn against Australia, so they'll be feeling really good and positive about continuing their growth. But for Scotland, if Scotland are serious, go to Italy and win. and then come home and beat an England who, as you said earlier, don't travel to Murrayfield very well. You do that, you're 2 from 2, and then all of a sudden, right, here we go. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
This is our year.
Maybe. I mean, look, predicting results in the Six Nations is a fool's errand anyway, because there's always upsets and things go up and down. I agree totally with you that I don't think you can discount the away game in Italy this weekend. That is not an easy fixture, but I can't help, Topsy, but be drawn to week 2, England, Calcutta Cup, and how Six Nations defining that game is potentially going to be for both England and Scotland. Like, whoever wins that game, you would imagine have a great shot of kicking on. They may well have won both of their matches so far. You're up and you're into the Six Nations. The team that loses it, it's going to be such a huge blow to them. I'm going to be up in Edinburgh for that game. I cannot wait for it.
Same, either. I've not done an England-Scotland game in Scotland.
Same.
So really looking forward to that. And like I say, the result of the first game will really play into that narrative. You know, I mean, Scotland will want revenge for last year. They were a kick away from winning it and played really well. England maybe got out of jail, but will feel that they found a way to win. So each team will be coming into this game with a bit of venom. But I think if you're Scotland, actually, the trap that they fall into is they think about the England game before this weekend.
See, I don't think they'll be doing that, but I do think that Scotland will feel almost more comfortable playing England at home than they might do going away to play Italy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
In a way, that fixture seems more dangerous for them. Not because Italy are better than England, but I think because they have lost to Italy last time they went there a couple of years ago. Plus the fact that they have had the better of England recently. I think psychologically they've got a bit of a boost there. So weirdly, I look at the Italy game as being more dangerous for them. I tell you what, let's finish off here with some of our final predictions then ahead of the opening weekend. Who's going to win it, Topsy? Who's winning the Six Nations in 2026?
Oh, man. Here we go. Prediction time. I think France. I just think that home advantage will be massive for them. England going there on the final weekend could be huge. Obviously, England lost in the final play, I think, 2 years ago. But I think France will just squeak it. No Grand Slam this year, but I think they'll get over the line.
Yeah, I agree with you. The problem is, I just think over the 5 game weeks of the Six Nations, Grand Slams, are so difficult to do. It sounds simple, doesn't it? Let's go and win 5. They are so difficult to do. And I just think at some point, England might not get over the line in one of these matches that are really tight. And I don't think that necessarily means that it's going to be a huge failure for England. I think it could still just be another part of their learning as a team. But I'm not sure if I see them winning the title. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get to Paris and the Grand Slam's on the line and they do it, and what an amazing thing that would be. But I'm going to go with France as well. Player of the tournament.
I
feel like if we're going for a France to win the title, then it's Antoine Dupont's the easy answer here, right?
It is the easy answer, but I mean, as great a player as he is, I think his first Six Nations back post-injury, I think he will just get on with his game, and his game getting on with it is still electric, but I think other players might have the limelight on this one. I'm really looking forward to seeing Manny Feiwa-Boso. I think this could be a Six Nation. I mean, he's been great already, but it could be a Six Nations where he really goes, right, okay, yeah, I'm the guy. I am that guy. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that journey develops.
He is that guy, by the way. He's unbelievable.
Well, he is. I mean, he breaks tackles that he shouldn't break. He makes plays that he shouldn't make, and he's always involved in the action, which, as a winger is great to see. So, I'm going to go for him.
Okay, now I'm going to go Antoine Dupont, which I know is the easy answer, but if I'm predicting France to win the title, then I think Antoine Dupont is going to be the key cog in that team.
Maybe I change mine. Do I predict England so Manny can get it? Maybe. Ask me week to week.
Well, maybe he's just going to score a boatload of tries, and therefore, even if England don't win it,
what's the record? 8. He needs to beat BL Berry's 8 from last year. Doesn't need to take the record.
You never know.
There we go.
You never know.
Right.
What matchup are you most excited for, either players or matches? I think we're both going to have Calcutta Cup here, aren't
we? You actually read my mind. I was good. Initially, I went the final game because I want to see that as a Grand Slam decider.
But it depends, right? Like, if we get a Grand Slam decider, then 9 p.m. in Paris, that's unbelievable. But we don't know if we're going to get there. We know Calcutta Cup is going to be huge.
Yeah. That was my very quick second, just because everything that's gone previously, Scotland having had the rub of the green up until last year, like I say, that game is going to have everything going from it. The passion, the hostility, 2 teams wanting to avenge from last year, or revenge in Scotland's case. Yeah, can't wait, can't wait. And from a personal experience as well, like I said, we're both going to be in there. We're both going to be right in the fire. It's going to be electric, and yeah, I can't wait to sample that atmosphere.
Yeah, same. It's going to be brilliant. Can't wait for it. Can't wait for Flower of Scotland. They're going to be so up for it. Right, let's rattle these off. Final predicting the scores for this weekend. France, Ireland. I'm going to go France 32, Ireland 19, I think.
Ooh.
A late France score just kind of polishes the scoreboard.
Yeah, I'm going to go 29-23, France to Ireland.
Italy, Scotland. I'm going to go Italy 13, Scotland 22.
I will go 27-19 in Scotland's favour.
And then England, Wales. England 47, Wales 17.
47.
It's going to be a big win for
Welsh
England.
Fans listen to this, or they will be listening.
Yeah, they're going to let me know if I get that wrong. They're going to let me know. But hey, listen.
They will. No, I'm going to go 36-19.
Okay, so still comfortable win. I think the Welsh fans are coming for both of us there, Topsy. I don't think either of us are absolved from that.
No, we're not. I just wanted to throw you under the bus first.
Yeah, they'll come for me first of all. That's all right. Well, that's it for today. We're all gearing up for the start of the Six Nations, and we'll be here with you every Monday on the talkSPORT Daily podcast. We'll also have another talkSPORT Daily coming your way tomorrow, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. Topsy, pleasure as always.
Yep, looking forward to it. See you next week.
Top man, see you next week. We will be back with you next Monday. The talkSPORT Daily back with you once again tomorrow.